Lucky Lefty Podcast, Onora Boys in the building, brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. It is that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure that you do so responsibly. You got to do it responsibly, man. Look, LL Nation, what's good with it, man? Crazy news in college football. The dominoes are about to start falling. As soon as we hear news from Tuscaloosa, we'll find out what other coaching vacancy is going to be out there. Marcus Freeman linked to Tuscaloosa and what's going on. It's a bunch of crap, but we'll get into it. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everyday audio edibles, man. Link in with us. You already know how we do it. YouTube, the thumbs up, smash it for us, man. Share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Every time we go live, you'll know. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We spin it different. Left is on the road, and Left, it's funny because my wife is out in LA right now, and she's going to look at apartments without me. I had to stay back because I had to help my parents this week with some things. And shout out to my baby girl who sang the national anthem last night. Super proud of her. And yo, I got a snowstorm coming. I got like 6 to 7 inches coming, hitting me in the face in Chicago tomorrow. So I'm not happy about being here in the Midwest while she's out there on the West Coast. But regardless of that, it's good to be on here talking Notre Dame football. It truly is. So, how are you feeling though?
Yeah, I can't lie. It's really nice out here right now. So, I
I
can only
see.
imagine what
You
snow would
want
do to me right now.
you sound like my wife, dude. I was like, yo, so what's the weather like? She was like, it's cold. It's actually cold. I said, it's
Yeah,
cold. She said, yeah, it's like 70. When I tell
that
you,
light breeze off the ocean is just it tickles you in the morning. It's not too cold, but hey, it's what we got
he,
to deal with over here.
he's trolling me right now, LL Nation. He threw in the word slight breeze, ocean. He words like that. That's when you know somebody from the West Coast is trolling you when you're in the Midwest.
No, no. I mean, I was forced to put on a little sweater jacket today.
Yeah, she was
Forced
like,
to.
yeah. She was like, yeah, I had to wear a hoodie. I was like, you know what?
Yeah, them hoodies. Listen, it's not like that. We not prepared for hoodie season like you guys are experienced over there.
So she FaceTimed me and she was like, I want you to see this spot. I said, where are you at? She was like, I'm in Rancho Cucamonga. I'm like, you trying to put me out there with Day Day?
Oh yeah, she out there, Rancho Cucamonga. She out in the
I was
IE.
like, fam. I was like, yo, 40
You
minutes.
gonna
Like,
still feel like you in Chicago being that far from
I'm like,
LA.
yo, we might as well go to Orange County if you trying to drive
Yeah,
that far.
seriously. Yeah, seriously, seriously.
You trying to put me out there with Day Day and the brothers. What was the brothers' name?
Now, but just like Day Day, they got all that brand new expansion. You get your backyard, you get your
Oh
one
yeah, she
shopping
said,
center.
yo, now she showed me the spot. The spot was absolutely fabulous, dude. Definitely good bang for your buck. You know, I'm trying to convince her to let us live downtown LA, dude, like the Jeffersons with a doorman and everything. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
man, listen, see yeah, yeah.
Dude,
That's
because I'm trying to minimize the driving, bro. As long as I can just Uber to a spot and just walk to a spot, I'm good, man.
Oh, so yeah, I mean downtown is a sweet spot, mid city. Keep you Culver City even if you're talking some media stuff. Stay by the studios if you need to. So
I see that's all I need, dude. That's all I need. I don't do. I can take an Uber to the market if I need to go. You guys can take the car. I'm a simple
okay.
dude,
Oh, you
man.
might you might even hit that LeBron and catch a bike ride to the office or something.
Yes, dude. I'll definitely have a bike, so I'm good with that. I'm absolutely good with that. I'm a simple dude, man. You know, you grow up on the South Side, we bike everywhere, so it
Shit, you
is.
might you might you might have to think doing some Beverly or some little Beverly Hill action.
Well, she's out there with her best friend whose son goes to oh, I forget the name of the school he goes to, but he's up there going close to where the Kardashians live, his university.
Oh, his university. Yeah,
His
okay.
university's up there. I forget the name of it, but he's like going that way. He's not actually all the way there, but it's kind of like a 10 minutes before you get to Calabasas.
Okay, yeah. Hey, tell you what, it's good weather over there too.
Yeah, he's good weather over there too. I'm thinking about some Lucky Lefty podcast, man. Look, let's get to it, man. We're gonna talk about it. LL question of the day. LL question of the day. What does Marcus Freeman have to do to be great at Notre Dame? What does Notre If Marcus Freeman wins one championship left, will he be considered great?
I mean, the way they praise him, Jim Harbaugh, you would think he was the
Man,
greatest Michigan coach ever. So I can only imagine Marcus Freeman do it with less of a resume. They might, I'm telling you, that's statue worthy at Notre Dame at this juncture to where the expectations of a Notre Dame coach should be.
mm-mm-mm. Hey, man, I'm here to tell you, bro. It's a good question. Like, how many championships does Marcus Freeman have to win in order to be great? And if he wins one, with the last one being in '88, does that kind of does that raise his stock? Let us know. Let us know. So what's smoking? Fashion Geek. Right here. You see it, baby. Fashion Geek. We run the city. AlonzoJackson.com. So left, Nick Saban retires. And he sat down with Reese Davis today. And 7 national championships, 6 at Alabama, 1 at LSU. Quick trip to the NFL and back. But even with that, he gave his reasons why he decided to retire. And this is what he said to Reese Davis today.
The simplest question of all. Why did you decide that this was the right time to retire?
Well, I don't think there's any good time, especially when you're a coach, because once you're a coach, you think you're going to be a coach forever. But I actually thought that in hiring coaches, recruiting players, that my age started to become a little bit of an issue. People wanted assurances that I would be here for 3 years, 5 years, whatever, and that got harder and harder for me to be honest about. And to be honest, this last season was grueling. It was a real grind for us to come from where we started to where we got to. Took a little more out of me than usual, and you know, when people mentioned the health issue, it was really just the grind of, can you do this the way you want to do it? Can you do it the way you've always done it and be able to sustain it and do it for the entire season? And if I couldn't make a commitment to do that in the future, the way I think I have to do it, I thought maybe this was the right time based on those two sets of circumstances that, like I said, there's never a good time. But I thought maybe this was the right time.
So there's no illness. It's just the grind and the gruel of the season.
Yeah, there's no illness. Miss Terry's fine. I'm fine. But it was can you sustain the season? You know, from just a mental grind standpoint. And you know, when I was young, you know, I could work till 2 in the morning, get up at 6, and be there the next day and be full of energy and go for it. But when you get a little older, that gets a little tougher, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that.
What's an example of something that, when you say it took a little more out of you, a little more grueling this year, what's an example of something that happened in the season?
You know, I think that my role was a little different this year. I was more involved with the defense, had to be more involved with the defense. That took a little more time, put a little more stress, you know, on me, made me feel like maybe I wasn't doing as good a job as I needed to in other parts of our team. And I just have a high standard for how I do things. And if I don't feel like I'm living up to that standard, I'm really disappointed. I wasn't disappointed in the season. I wasn't disappointed in the team. I wasn't disappointed in the players. In fact, this team was fun to coach. They came a long ways, and I was really proud, you know, of the way everybody bought in and did what they did to have the success that we had. But at the same time, I felt like I could have done a better job. if I was younger.
That last 3 minutes of that Rose Bowl is going to haunt him, Left. His plan, I truly believe his plan was to win the national championship, beat Kirby, which he did, win the championship, and walk away. That was his plan.
Yeah, I think that's how he saw it in his head. I think he was also the reason why it was so urgent because of the fact of how he can't have his thumb on the game like he used to. His
Mm.
NIL's getting out of control, recruiting is taking effect, and he's got to put a little more than he's used to. You heard him say, do it his way. His way is not having to go to alumni and beg for money. His way is not negotiating guys getting 5,000 just to make a visit. His way is not leaning towards the players and what they are growing into as brands.
Yeah.
He seems is crossing over into what he has his finger on in terms of how he commands the team. Probably gave him a lot of flashbacks of where he probably would see his players being like the Dolphins players when he was an NFL coach. Because now, when he was with the Dolphins, he can't talk crazy to them dudes getting paid. Them dudes not responding the same way. And he didn't last long when that happened. So now he sees that bleeding into college football. He's like,
And we lost
it
Left for a
takes it
little
out of
bit.
my control of it being solely based on me being a great recruiter and great program. I gotta be more ego balanced with the guys I'm bringing in.
You said something about he got out, and I didn't. Next year is the first time that Georgia and Alabama play in the regular season in a while. And Georgia comes calling. They come to Tuscaloosa on September 28th. And you pointed out, I think Nick got out for this reason. And what reason was that, Left? You really thought this was one of the main reasons?
One of the main reasons because he saw that schedule. I mean, it's the first time Alabama was not playing Sam Houston State in the first doubleheader back-to-back game. They got to play a Georgia, a Tennessee, a Florida, all the teams they see at the end of the road in the championship game, regular season. On top of expansion, I think it's going to be tough for any coach to go through that Alabama 2024 schedule. And Nick Saban's not trying to get Bill Belichick due to the change of what's happening in college football.
Left, I want you to think about this. A lot of people are talking about his legacy in college football, calling him the best coach ever. Right? So that could be the case. That could be the case. He could be the greatest football coach ever. But with all of that being said, how much does the SEC owe him? And I'm saying this for a reason, Left, because when we go to, let's say modern day is the beginning of the BCS, that's in 98. What we see is SEC, ACC, Big 12, Big East Independent, Big 10, Pac-12, Pac-12, Big 12. And then around 2006 is when everything starts to change. And it's Urban that jumps it off, but it's Nick Saban that takes the reins and pretty much dominates from that point forward. Urban Meyer and Nick Saban pretty much to me are the SEC, Left. Because before the SEC, before Urban Meyer and Nick Saban got to the SEC, the Big 12 and the Pac-12 and the Big 10 were pretty much just as dominant as conferences. And pretty much were going back and forth with the championships, including Miami sprinkled in there in their time in the Big East. So I think there's a lot that should be given by the SEC. They need to give a lot of flowers to one Nick Saban for what he meant for elevating how people looked at the SEC and how dominant they became as a conference, even though he was the main one really dominating, to keep it real. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. You got LSU 07, Florida 08, Alabama 09, Auburn 10, Alabama 11, 12. Florida State sneaks in there with Jameis Winston at 13. Ohio State comes back with Ezekiel Elliott and the crew in 14. Alabama comes right back. Then here comes Dabo in 16. Alabama comes right back. Dabo again at 18. LSU, Alabama, Georgia, Georgia. And then this year, the Big Ten finally cracks through. So it's amazing, man. It's really amazing what Urban Meyer and what Nick Saban meant to the SEC and what they started for the SEC. They need to cut him a check. They absolutely need to cut him a check because he meant a lot to setting the standard along with Urban Meyer and what the SEC was about to embark on as far as championships and raising the level of the SEC conference when it comes to college football. Lucky Lefty podcast. So we can't forget, man, anytime you have breaking news, LL Nation, when it comes to Alabama, you have to go to Superfan Willie. This is what Willie had to say about Nick Saban retiring. Enjoy.
Yes.
Just got the news, didn't we, Willie?
Yeah. I ain't too excited about that.
I know it, but look here. All good things come to an end.
Yeah, but my main man is stepping down.
I know it, but listen.
The greatest coach they is.
I know it.
Can't everybody beat him?
I know it. Look, listen. He's the greatest coach there ever was. He's the greatest. He'll go down as the greatest coach ever. Listen to me. But listen.
This right here hurts.
I know it hurts you, and it hurts me. It hurts every Bama fan. And everybody that's not a Bama fan should appreciate the greatness that he's done for college football.
He is the greatest coach of all.
He's the greatest one there ever was.
Boy, nobody ever beat him.
I know it. Look, it hurts, but, Nick Saban, it's time for him to retire. I don't like him retiring, but,
who's going to fill his shoes?
Listen.
He right here is going to fill them.
You gonna
They
do it.
hire me, I will take over.
I know it, but listen.
And one thing I will do, I am not going to put up with paying the players.
Well, that's just one of those things that's
No, they done stupid by doing that. That's where Nick is retired now. He couldn't get his players to do what he wanted to do on account of that bullshit.
It ain't funny, Willie. It ain't funny, but you're right. Listen to me though.
That's Willie, super fan for Alabama. And Willie, man, Willie was spot on though.
Yeah, he's taking it hard.
Willie took it hard.
No, but I do think that, Coach Saban will go down as the greatest coach of this era, but the game is changing. And the scales in which we determine.
Let me ask you: is the game changing, or the game that comes with the game changing?
I think the standards in which we judge the level of quality of coach is changing. Before, it was about running a program tip-top shape, top to bottom, to crush a regular season schedule and control your own destiny. That's being graded over a consistent period of time because of the way that the championship is structured. After the regular season, you don't control the postseason necessarily. So in that structure, Nick Saban is the greatest coach of all time. In this new structure, I think the way you grade it is going to be different, which I think freshens the scales and resets the balance of college football, because outside of Georgia, I think it's anybody's game. And even with Georgia in this type of playoff system, I think it's going to present them challenges that they may lose a game they shouldn't just due to the rigor of what this presents. So I think that opens the door for guys like Dan Lanning, Cristobal, James Franklin, Marcus Freeman, these type of coaches to start that, even Van Gundy to restart the scales, not to take away from what coaches have done before, but to reset it in terms of a new achievement that nobody's really accomplished at this point. And Saban can't even say that, So I think that it's the same as going from the AFL to the NFL. Different rules is a different standard of greatness. And I think that will apply even to the players. Now, the playoff stats mean something. You can judge players better on an NFL level. Okay, you're on a predominantly good team, Justin Fields, every year. You're going to crush that Big Ten schedule because Ohio State is kicking ass every year. Now you get into this playoffs, we can look at you a little differently. Now you under pressure. Now you in a more realistic environment we can judge you on. You playing the best teams back-to-back weeks. There's no question about it. Caleb Williams wouldn't get all this flack if USC was in the playoffs, because then he gets to put on the whole, is he a good leader? Is he a diva? This, that, and the third. So I think overall the playoff changes the scales, but it balances out college football now, so you got to find a new way to cheat the system. Last way to cheat the system was to out-recruit everybody and get the best 5 stars, and I think Georgia broke the system doing that. They broke the system. System became unfair once it became who can get the most 5 stars and who can't. Broke the system. Now it's like, does that even matter? Can those 5 stars last the whole season? Are they going to sit out? A lot of questions to ask.
Man, it's crazy because he met with his team yesterday, and everybody wants to talk about who's going to succeed him, right? And we're pleased to welcome, our brother Left. He had to get in on some of this, man. And he came out, man. It's a big deal, guys. It's cuddle season for us Midwest guys, man. And
that's right.
He's giving us a little bit of time, man. We're gonna be launching our trio podcast on Patreon coming up this month. It's our guys,
that's right.
Locked On College Football Live, Locked On ACC, Locked On Wolfpack. I got Ken Gibbs. Come on in, bro.
What's going on, man? Hey, listen, y'all the stars. Y'all the stars. I'm just showing
up.
I'm just showing up to talk a little ball because Nick Saban. That's one of the. We're seeing the change of the guard in many ways, man, across college football, college basketball, NFL. The guard is totally different. What happened to the game I love is a little bit of what's happening.
So is this the bookmark, like just football in general, like Belichick, Pete Carroll, Nick Saban in a span of like 36 hours, and Belichick is probably going to continue to coach, right? Pete might even continue to coach.
Oh, Pete's for sure he's going to keep coaching.
Because Pete is the type of dude that might come back to college. Pete, he's just that type of dude. But I want to talk about what you just said. And Left, you guys played the game. When you watch the game now as former players, do you say to yourself, man, I wish I played in this era, or does it make you appreciate the era you came up in?
I'll say this, because Left is a quarterback. He would have been making some real money in NIL. But even still, this era of football, I wish I was playing in this era only because I became aware of the business side of things too late. I became aware of – I was one of those guys, and I'll tell you a quick story about the type of guy I was and kind of how things now have shifted my perspective. And obviously with age that comes, but also just understanding how the world works a little bit. And seeing how the players are wearing out. When I was in practice at NC State, I suffered all 3 of my season-ending injuries in practice. Now, one of them was my bicep was torn. Obviously, 2 torn Achilles, you can't walk. You can't do anything with that. When I tore my bicep, I didn't know I tore it. So I taped it up, and I kept practicing. And I just said, hey, my arm hurts. Trainers, please do something. And they said, all right, we'll go ahead and wrap it up for you. Let me know if you can do everything you need to do. And my motto was always, if I can write and I can walk, I can play football. That's all I need to be able to do. If I can do those 2 things, I can go. So I squeezed my hand as if I was gripping a pen. And I said, all right, I can do it. Let's roll. And afterwards, the trainer is, or I'm sorry, not the trainer, one of the team doctors just grabbed my arm. And he's like, there's no tendon there. There should be a tendon right there. And I'm like, so what does that mean? And he's like, your arm can't move without the tendon. There's no way that you practice. I said, yeah, the last period or so, that's what it looked like. So I say all that to say, when I played, I had the mindset of I'm a warrior. Whatever my team needs, I don't care if I have to sacrifice my body. So long as the team gets the win, so long as the team gets the victory, so long as the defense stops offense, I'm good to go. It's a very different mentality, very different player, very different environment now because everybody's more aware of the money side of this thing. It's no longer whatever the team needs. I will look out for the team so long as it does not directly hurt or go against my interests, which honestly, I'm not wholly against that. I'm not against that for the players.
What's the new level?
I don't know how much because I think winning makes everything better. I don't think it tapers the interest of a player. If anything, it encourages. You see Caleb Williams making Wendy's commercials that you seeing every time you go home after practice. It would encourage me to, if I was a receiver, to get my ass open. Hey, well, I'll get the money train while it's hot because right now they're going through a QB carousel. So I do think that it does incentivize guys to probably be more on their P's and Q's, not only from a business side, but a football perspective. The stakes raise. And I think, it's about the haves and have-nots once again in NIL space. But in terms of the impact it has of whether I would have played now or then, I think when I played was at the perfect moment because it was the crux before all of this started to change, when football and the value of having to win became a lot more important. I wish we would have had the playoff system. I think that would have given us just a better story to build. And it would settle all this conference stuff down because I think we would have been in a perspective, a better situation than what we're looked at as opposed to being perfect. And if we don't go undefeated, we suck, we overrated, we can't win no big games. Now you take those good Notre Dame teams, put them in the playoff system, I think the perspective changes a little bit. So from that side, I do wish we had a chance of that. But from the standpoint of now and then, I mean, obviously I feel like I would have had a lot more money than some of the ways we had to get money back then. But it just made it all part of the game because, hell, if you play good enough in that short time, you get an NFL contract and guaranteed at Notre Dame quarterback if you half as decent. So, I don't think it would have affected either way.
It's funny because I kind of related to, and I said this to somebody in conversation. I said, half a day is a half a day. It doesn't matter what generation. You skipping school and somebody throwing a party at the crib.
Yeah.
We were able to do it with beepers and payphones. Like, we didn't have cell phones. So somehow, some way, we put everything together, made it happen, and still had the same type of get-together, kick-it session, whatever, as you all do with text messaging and cell phones now. So, the game is the game. Like, you can change all of the extracurriculars and all the appendages of it with NIL, transfer portal, but at the end of the day, when you have 18-year-olds step on the field, 18 and 21-year-olds step on the field, the pageantry, Saturday afternoons, the game is the game, man. It truly is. Now, Nick Saban said something. He didn't have to throw Jordan Addison under the bus like that. But, when he reported that, he pretty much knew he was done when a certain wide receiver, didn't want to come to Alabama last year because he wouldn't up that half meal or whatever it was. I'm like, Nick, but got it.
But that's why you're seeing a lot of these coaches retire earlier, and even beyond that, that's why you're seeing coaches who cannot adapt and adjust will not be the guys going forward. Why do you think that those fans in Tuscaloosa? And hear me out.
Saban and Belichick known for though.
Yeah, and they have, but I'm saying they've had enough of what is the new thing. Like Bill Belichick, he always has marched to the beat of his own drum, and he had multiple things that, again, players back in the day were willing to take that pay cut to come to the Patriots and get themselves a Super Bowl. Harrison, Sayal, how many guys, I believe Willie McGinnis wasn't an OG Patriot. I think he went later in his career as well, took a pay cut,
No, Willie was drafted.
Okay, so he was drafted.
Yeah,
I was
he was there with
incorrect there.
Parcells. Yeah, he was
But
there with
there's plenty of guys that you could look at and say this guy took a pay cut to come be here and come be there. Randy Moss, an all-time great. He's so good. We got a verb that is surrounding around what he did to guys. And he took a pay cut because he wanted a championship. He wanted that little bit of career revitalization and to play with an all-time great. That was the difference. You saw on Gilbert Arenas' podcast when they were talking about what would you rather have? Be a guy who makes X amount of millions of dollars in your career, or you cut that by a third, but you get a championship ring. And that pretty much everybody said the same thing. Give me the money, because at the end of the day, guys who get the championship ring are selling those championship rings for $5,000, $10,000, whatever the case may be, to put some food on the table. So it's a different situation. It's a different situation in the NFL. It's a difference. And I'm going to tell you this. Saban talking about players in college, again, I'll tell you. Why, you know where those fans in Tuscaloosa were screaming, anybody but Dabo. Why they were standing outside his trophy. I mean, why they were standing outside of his statue saying that. Because Dabo has not adjusted to the portal era. He keeps talking about, hey, players got to love Clemson too. Brother, they don't got to love nothing but the check. That's what they got to love, okay? This is not the college football that you're used to, where folks are doing it for good old State, where folks are doing it for good old Clemson, where folks are doing it for dear old Notre Dame. It's not the reality anymore. I know that we all want our schools to mean that much to guys, but the reality is, I guarantee you, you could take the top school, you could take the most loving school, you could take the school that has the most passionate fans in the world, all the pageantry in the world, and you tell their players, none of you are getting paid, by the way. Watch how that place clear out like roaches when the lights turn on.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it too, you have to factor in the fact that it's a combination. Yeah, the money may have to be right on some circumstances, but most of these coaches, and where that Nick Saban effect comes in, is that he's basically guaranteeing you're going to get a shot at the league. Whereas a lot of these top players, yeah, the money matters. But hell, look at Caleb Williams. Eastern Michigan offered him $1 million in a briefcase. Yeah, if the money mattered, hell, I'd go to Eastern Michigan. He already had won the Heisman. So, I think he's stuck with Lincoln Riley knowing, okay, this is still development. I still got to be able to be at a level where, even when I move beyond this, I'm ready to play. So the coaching matters in my opinion, the other 50% side of things.
I agree, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it is one or the other. I'm saying it's those things in unison. And if you don't have 50%, it's not going to be there, right? We talk about lifestyle stuff on this show a lot. Think about it this way. We all have been in relationships or have relationships or are not right now, right? It's not about whether or not you can do the little things, be faithful, be consistent, or come up with the extravagant birthday and the trip or whatever the case may be. It's a combination of both. If you can't do both, if you come with all the birthdays, all the trips, all the vacations, it's a certain type of person you're going to get with that without any loyalty attached, without any, hey, I'm going to show up on the day-to-day. When you tell me you're not feeling well, I'm going to bring you soup and salad and whatever else you need to get better. And then on the other side, if you come with all the, hey, I'm here day-to-day, don't expect nothing big from me. Don't expect nothing more than a cupcake with a candle in it for your birthday. You're going to miss out on that other type of person that you would potentially get. It's the same thing with recruiting in football. It's not 100% money, because I talked to guys on the on Locked On Wolfpack. I spoke to many recruits that committed to NC State out of the portal, and I talked to a couple that I know for a fact. They showed me hard evidence. Because I don't do that On3 stuff of speculation. No disrespect to On3. They do good work. But I don't do the speculation of this is your value, this is your value. If you can't show me the greenbacks, if you can't show me the screenshot, hey, this is how much I was getting paid, yada, yada. I've seen that from guys, and I've seen guys take pay cuts to win. So I agree with you, Left. I'm just saying it's both. You notice how I said they took a pay cut to win, not they took their pay down to zero to win, is all I'm saying.
Man, I agree with you. You have to be careful when you have just real conversations. Like you said, I talk to recruits. I talk to Notre Dame recruits, ones that commit to Notre Dame, ones that don't commit to Notre Dame. And like Notre Dame just had the first kid, I think, in the 24 class that I've ever heard say, yo, all I think about is football. Like don't talk to me about that 4 for 40 stuff. I'm coming to Notre Dame to take a spot as a freshman and to get to the NFL. That was out of his mouth.
Yeah. And
You don't hear that.
You'll never eliminate players like that from the game. There will always be those maniacs that are like, I want to run through a brick wall. I want to catch that game-winning touchdown. I want to run through a brother's face. That's what I want to do. All the money is extra. Y'all pay me to do this? Sure, let's do it. But I want to. I'm not saying that no school will ever have the allure to pull players off who they are. Obviously, I'm on the Lefty podcast. I'm talking to 2 Notre Dame guys. If there's any school that has the allure, if there's any school that has all of the bells and whistles to say, y'all got touchdown Jesus, for Christ's sake. You know, we're talking some real talk right here, and there will always be those. But again, as players become more aware of the financial aspects of this thing, we've seen more opt-outs than ever in bowl games. It's not because people hate bowl games all of a sudden. It's the financial aspect coming in and players saying, hey, listen, my coach could leave me high and dry like Tommy Tuberville did when he left those boys at dinner to take that new job. Hey, listen, you know, I hate to bring this up, but Jalen Smith, I saw him in person. Me and him went to the same camps. He's a Midwest guy. I'm a Midwest guy. I saw him play receiver, running back, defensive back, and linebacker at camps. Me and him both won MVP at one of the Midwest elite camps, and we chopped it up and all that. And I said, brother, you're different. You're different. I love the way you play ball, man. I wish we had more guys like you at Cass Tech. No disrespect to my linebackers that were there. I love you, Royce. I love you, Ryan. Y'all know that. With that being said, you saw how his draft stock, not only his draft stock, his career in general was hurt by playing in a bowl game. And all of a sudden after that, that's where you started to see the trickle of players opting out come. So I'm never going to say, hey, everybody's going to opt out every time because the money is all that matters. No, there's absolutely players who the league, going to the league is most important, doing it for Darrell State is most important. Those players exist. But if you believe that you can connect with 100% of players in that regard, I have oceanfront property to sell you in South Bend. Don't ask me about the property. Just give me the money first, and I'll show it to you.
Just wire down payment.
Just wire the payment.
Yo, so
but I do think that last point, I do think that adds to why Saban retired. You talked about it's a 50-50. It wasn't 50-50 before. Saban can run it like the military ship that he can. And that's what stood out to me is that he said, I can't do it how I want to do it. And it wore me out chasing players with this money, chasing alumni for this money, and I can't run it like how I run it. And that's the new era that I think we're facing, which is putting new stakes to what it means to be the greatest. So for this era, Nick Saban got it. Yeah. Now in this new player mix, you got to be, on your P's and Q's and coach for real. I think it's going to help not only the coaches, because it's going to help these schools. These schools not going to let go of these coaches easily now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we get a coach that can put us in the playoffs and get 2 rounds in. Shit, we might have to pay him a little more. He can't just leave out.
Yo, look, Marcus Freeman's buyout is only $4 million. Now, Pete Thamel added his name to the. Marcus Freeman is not going to the.
No, he's not going. No, that's not.
Dude, I can't sit here and say whether or not his name was bounced around in conversations. It probably wasn't on the initial list. Whatever.
Alabama is no longer that qualified job. Alabama is no longer that desirable.
First of all, no one wants to be the guy after Nick Saban. That's the first thing.
Absolutely. It's
and
like
even the guy that it'd be just like Auburn. Auburn will have a guy trying to replace, and they'll just be another SEC team. Brian Kelly might go in there and shake something up for a couple years.
Being the next guy after Saban is like trying to replace Kobe in Vanessa Bryant's life. That's a fool's errand there. That's a fool. What you gonna beat him with? What you go? He's gone. He's not here no more. You don't gotta worry about. But how you gonna top that?
She might be single for a while.
As Jay-Z said, she used to $1 Million Vacations. What y'all gonna do with that? Okay. All right, let's be very real about this thing, So that's the reality of what that Alabama job is. And I'll tell you, the unfortunate part of it is, I say this all the time, and people like to give me flack about it. There are realistically 10, maybe, if I'm being very generous, 15 programs where 8 wins a year won't get you a statue built in college football. Everywhere else, if you get 8 wins a year, they will build you. They will change the stadium to your name when you're 60. And they will build you a statue. I'm willing to bet whatever on it. I'm telling you.
NC State included?
Yes, NC State is not in that 10 to 15. They in that group that 8 wins a year will get you a statue. Doran is the winningest coach in NC State history. I'm telling you. Listen, I'm not going to lie to y'all to sit up here and say NC State by 1 million every game. That's not me. I'm not that guy, okay? I'm going to tell you what it is, what it ain't, what it could be, and what it can't. And the reality is NC State is in that thing. Indiana is in that thing. Michigan State is in that thing. There's too many schools for me to really name right now. But again, outside of that 10 to 15 schools, everybody else is in that group that if you got 8 a year, you'll never get fired. They'll build a statue. They'll rename the stadium after you. Don't worry. That's what you got to do. And so with that being said, Alabama is in that 10 to 15. All those 10 to 15, they're pressure cookers. Yeah. Those are jobs where you have to do it year in, year out. In certain schools, they win a lot of games, they win a championship or two, and they forget that they're in that territory. But like I just talked about, anybody but Dabo, Clemson may realize very soon, oh God, we are not in that 10 to 15. Dabo could win 8 for the rest of his career. We just still got to name it Dabo Swinney Stadium and do all the things for him.
You know what? What changes now that the game has changed? Just coming from Nick Saban, because people have been saying all day, we'll never see this duplicated. We'll never see this duplicated. So what's the new? Now guys can win one championship and get that statue, like you said, because we asked today if Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame has had championship since '88. If Marcus Freeman wins. If Freeman wins the championship in this modern era, dude, he can write his own check.
Yeah. But Notre Dame is two-story. Notre Dame is two-story for one championship to be the thing. You know what I mean? Like most other schools. So, for example, I'll use NC State again because I know NC State intimately well. You win a championship at NC State, sure. Yeah. But again, if you're in that 10 to 15, one chip ain't enough. All those other schools, if Greg Schiano was to get replaced by Marcus Freeman, Marcus Freeman wins the championship there. Absolutely. They rename it the Marcus Freeman Stadium, right? If you're talking about those schools that don't fall in that category, you win a football championship at Kentucky. Brother, you got everything. They're gonna rename that thing for you. But if we're talking about those schools that have that history that, hey, we've been winning for forever. New Year's Six Bowls are where we live at. We might have had a down period where we were not there, but by and large, look through our history. Check the stats, brother. This is where we are. You'll be all right.
Hey, Lou Holtz has a statue.
I think if you check the stats, there's a lot.
Yeah, he'll get a statue, but I'm saying the stadium renamed after you, that's a whole nother ball game. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's going to be, it is Brian Denny right now. I'm willing to bet you whatever. By 2040, that's Saban Stadium.
Or Saban Field. Like
exactly.
Ryan Denny and just call it Saban Field. Yeah. Go ahead,
Lefty. I mean, he might get a building. He might mess around and get like a complex or a building, something. I would definitely get in the statue, but it might be a little bit more. I mean, he is 7 champion, something ridiculous. I think if Brian Kelly won 1, he would have got a statue.
Yeah,
I think a statue, yes.
Coach, yeah.
Yeah, a statue, but you got to understand the difference. A statue is different than the whole stadium renaming, right? Like any place where you win the championship regardless, right? You're going to get a statue.
Wait, hold on. Is the statue more or less than the stadium?
Less. Way less. Because you only get one stadium. You can put 5, 6, 7 statues outside the stadium. You only get one stadium.
But they renamed the stadium like the crypto.
That's in the league. In college, they not renaming. It's not the Qualcomm South Stadium in South Bend. You know what I mean? Like that's not what they're doing. Okay. They're not renaming the Big House Verizon Stadium at the Big House. Like that name is the name because that's what it is. But again, they're gonna have some statues outside of there to say, "Hey, Desmond Howard won the Heisman here. Give him a statue. Lloyd Carr did all the good things."
Okay. So
you're
saying, okay.
Yeah, a statue means you had a great career. The stadium, you were the greatest.
So one championship gives Marcus Freeman a statue.
Yes, I'd agree with that.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, and
he gets a statue. Yeah,
he get a statue.
Yeah, he get a statue, and he deserve it. Let's just be out. I know I might ruffle some Notre Dame feathers here because I know it's a Notre Dame podcast. You said last time they won the championship was when?
1988, my brother.
My oldest brother wasn't even thought of yet. I'm the youngest of 4, and I'm bald. So that just goes to tell you something.
You were still eating the hot dog combo at Coney Island?
Let me tell you something. In 88, I wasn't born. I wasn't born. My pops was eating at Coney Island.
I thought you said your youngest brother wasn't born.
No. I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest
Right.
of my mother and father's 4, and my big brother wasn't thought of yet in 88. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at. You know what I mean? Like it's been a while. You can't say that you don't get a statue if you win one in that type of situation. And hell, let's just be honest. Really, a football national championship, there are so few teams that win them. Even if you were to win one at one of the power schools, right? Like at one of those, because Notre Dame has the history, Miami has the history. I mean, plenty of schools have the history, but if you win one there, that'd be your first one in quite some time. You know, if Mario Cristobal was to do it, congratulations. That brother, get ready. You're gonna be immortalized with the headset doing a little. That's gonna be you in bronze outside the stadium. So. You know, I think that's it. Marcus Freeman would definitely deserve it.
So is Jim Harbaugh going to get a stadium or a statue?
Oh yeah,
statue. He's a statue guy. I think if he stays and wins about 1 or 2 more, he starts to move into that stadium conversation. Not only because of the championships, but he was also a great quarterback there. So that's what really elevates him in like he's a different type of situation.
That's what I'm saying. He got to get more than a statue then, because he was a good quarterback and now he's won one as a coach. That's got to be like a.
I'd say he's one championship away from. I'd say he's one championship away from for sure them renaming that thing Jim Harbaugh Stadium.
Well, he's the greatest coach right now.
Yeah,
I don't know about that. I disagree.
Left, do you think the itch is still there for Jim Harbaugh because he was so close to winning a Super Bowl? Like, do you think it's right now him saying, yo, if I can win 2 here, yo, I can really be that dude? Or, man, I know I can win a Super Bowl because I was super close. Like, what do you think is commanding his thoughts right now?
I think a little bit of convenience. I think having the fact that he's won a championship, he's got the fate in his own hands over there at Michigan. And then he's got the credibility and the wherewithal to take the challenge in the league. It's just I think a less convenient route for him at this time. I think if he would have lost, just like Saban, I think if Saban would have won, he probably would have took a little bit longer than how he has now to decide to retire. But I think right now, football, especially coaching, is you got to stay with what you're hot with. And I think for him to leave right now with it being hotter than it's ever been in a long time at a traditional program that, you know, is one of the staples of college football, you want to live in that a little bit. Because I think it would be, unless he's going to retire from football in general, if he retires from football in general, it's a great time to leave.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at, but I think it comparative to a Brian Kelly standpoint where the end of the road is right there. You ain't winning a championship. They ain't paying you no more than what you're getting. And you've been here for too long. Jim Harbaugh was a Brian Kelly until he won that championship. So I think now he has a little bit reason to stay as opposed to Coach Kelly having a reason to leave, knowing that window had passed and that opportunity passed.
You know what? I laugh because, you know, the video was everywhere on social media when Nick Saban pulled up to the building for, you know, the press conference and everything today. He pulled up with the nice 24s with the all-black S-Class, and I was like, okay, Nick. And I'm like,
that's right.
Yeah, your player's probably pulling up in that now. You probably feel a certain way. I started thinking like a 70-year-old man, like
yeah.
Yo,
he can't treat him like the Dolphin. I'm telling you, he's getting flashbacks of the Dolphin years.
And let me
now he's not only not getting paid more, he can't talk to him those type of way. Bryce Young getting paid just as much.
And not only that, the scheme of everything is so different now because remember when he first got to, we could completely dismiss LSU. We could completely dismiss Michigan State. Let's just talk Bama. When he first got to Bama, there was no transfer portal. If you were going to transfer, you would sit out and lose a year of eligibility. That was de facto taking your window from 4 years down to 3 automatically. So you didn't have to recruit guys to stay on the roster. Once they committed, they were good. Once you're committed, I know that the chances of you staying here are so high because what are the chances that you're going to go elsewhere, sit out that year, and then turn star afterwards? Even in the early Saban days, how many players did that? I'd say Alvin Kamara and who else? Who else transferred elsewhere, either went to JUCO or sat out their year and then turned into a star at another spot? Not many, because that just wasn't the nature of college football. Now, everybody and their mama. What team – I did a study on this actually because me and Micah Parsons got into a back and forth on Twitter. And
word?
Yeah,
I missed that one.
This was before me and you knew each other, but he was talking about Quinn Ewers transferring to Texas, and he said, I like my quarterbacks with some competitive fire to them. And so I did a little bit of looking, and I said, now, wait a minute. Of all the NFL quarterbacks right now, it was something between 1 and 4 or 1 and 3 had transferred at some point in time in their career. It's the new nature of the game. Whether you want to talk about it or not, it has very much so become a type of situation where not only do you have to recruit high schoolers, not only do you have to recruit in the portal, you also got to recruit your own team. You got to tell the freshmen who are redshirt, hey, brother, stick with us. Stick with us. I believe in you. You're going to be the guy in a year or two. I'll give you the opportunity to compete in a year or two. Just stick with the vision. Stick with the plan. As opposed to, you know what, I'm not playing here. I can go
It
transfer
just means
right
that
now.
those exit interviews got to be more honest. Now, because you get an exit interview now, even as a red shirt, they tell you, okay, you know, this is what we need, this and that, this is where you at. Now they got to be honest conversations. Listen, you need to leave. Listen.
But that used to be how it was back in the day. That used to be how it was. You and me both. Look, let's be real now. Let's be real. We ain't gonna indict our programs because I'm sure you went to a high school that had multiple players go D1. Cass Tech, football powerhouse in the Midwest. We had multiple players go D1. Not just at our school, but at other schools, and we've heard things as well about players being told, that's it. That's it. And this is before the transfer portal. Hey, man, we thought you were a little faster than what you been playing like here. We thought you were a little stronger. We thought you could, we thought that your ability to complete that reach block was a little better than what we got, brother. So, I'm not saying you got to leave. I'm not saying you got to go home, but you got to get the heck up out of here, So I think that is certainly a part of it. But I'm saying it from the standpoint of guys that you do figure are going to be part of the future going forward, you have to work harder to retain them than you would have otherwise. And again, the stars in college football now, let's just be honest, they are the coaches. They are the coaches. When you think of Bama for the past
Nick is not afraid. See, that's what this is what I love about Nick Saban, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Saban was Bama. There is no question about that.
Yeah.
But Nick Saban was not afraid to allow his players to be stars.
Yeah, yeah.
See, that's the problem at Notre Dame, bro. That's a problem. First of all, it's a problem with the fan base. It's a problem with the administration. We can go back to the Lou Holtz days.
He said go back to the Lou Holtz days.
Dude, that's the respect I have for Nick Saban, being the face of the program, but allowing himself to step back and allowing Bryce Young, allowing Tua, allowing Vontae Smith, all these guys, go ahead, be stars. Be stars. Because I'm the program. Right. Marcus Freeman, clear cut right now, no question. He's the face of Notre Dame.
Right.
I could have cut it off at Notre Dame. Because if you ask Notre Dame, you say Notre Dame in the streets to just the only thing people can relate to Notre Dame is Marcus Freeman or maybe the Four Horsemen. I promise you they're not about to mention a teacher, a professor. Maybe they know Hannah Storm from watching.
No, they know Jack Swarbrick.
They know Jack Swarbrick because
they don't know Stop playing.
Some people might.
I'm talking about the average person on the street. We're
talking about the average person. We're talking not a college football fan.
A college football fan would know.
Average woman would probably say, "Yo, Marcus Freeman. Oh, Notre Dame.
That fine brother. That fine brother. Coach.
Yes.
Yeah, that fine
Absolutely.
brother.
So now we're at the place where Notre Dame has a star.
Let me tell you,
as the head coach.
when Notre Dame
Will
hired him,
they allow in this NIL era? Will they
Yeah.
allow players to be? Bro, we did a show just based upon what I've heard, what I've been around. I told people CJ Carr is a star. Y'all might as well just get ready to promote this dude and put him in Times Square. Immediately, we got pushback from fans. No. I'm like, dude, y'all don't understand how the new era. You don't understand the new era. If you have a star, let him be a star.
In fairness, we did try it. We just tried it with a non-star.
Okay,
which
who
was
was
always
that? Who
my
you talking
problem.
about? Who are you talking about, Les?
Sam Hartman.
You boy, you're not gonna let this go, are you, boy?
We tried it. We had the promos. He had the commercials. I mean, we put some money this year in some commercials. We did some, some cute
But
stuff.
Sam is not a star, dude.
And if we
I know
talk,
that's what I'm saying. We just didn't have the
I was
star
just about
to
to
do
say,
it.
if you talking star
Kyle
power,
Kyle Hamilton would have been a guy.
He would have been
I
a
would have
superstar.
been putting everywhere.
Yeah.
Doing the whole.
And like somebody in the chat was talking about Sam Hartman. Dude, every Notre Dame quarterback is on ESPN and national networks.
No, they're not.
Tyler Buckner was on ESPN.
Well, what are we saying?
When he was here, Jack Cohn was on ESPN when he was here as a transfer. What recent quarterback did not do the ESPN East Coast TV thing and all?
Sam Hartman was the only one to go on tour that I know. Deshaun never went on no tour. Evan never went on no tour. Tommy never went on no. I mean, they was doing ridiculous stuff. They over there opening the NASDAQ.
In fairness, wasn't Kelly at the beginning of building the program with you guys? I'm trying to be fair here. I'm just trying to be fair.
I'm saying the rollout tour we had with Sam, I think was a really good idea. Sam just wasn't the number one pick of the draft. That's all.
Yeah, because Drew Pine was at ESPN doing interviews, bro.
It was heating up. No, it was heating up. It was heating up.
Drew Pine,
but it
gross.
But Kelly wouldn't let a star, in my opinion, be over him in the program. Marcus Freeman, it happens naturally.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. You look around college football now, and not only is it the roster turnover, but again, the coaches are the stars because of the roster turnover, and coaches who cannot manage that stardom well, you're cooked. You're cooked. Yeah. And that's why that Bama job is such a difficult one to follow, because Saban was the perfect star. He was the perfect star. Say what you want about Saban. He had so many quotable moments. I'm not going to, so quit asking. That great quotable moment. Great quotable moment. He walks into the interview.
Deion is a star. Shoot.
Yeah, Deion is. I'll tell you this much. People talk about what Deion is or is not. That is a team that if they start winning or when they start winning, either one of those, if that happens, I am willing to bet you whatever. Their recruiting is good now. It takes off into another stratosphere after one 8-win season. After one. They'll need 12. They'll need to be in the Big 12 championship.
Deion not going to stay, though, to see the success of that. I don't think.
Well, I think he might, because the only jobs that I could see pulling Deion from Colorado, you got to come big bag. Exactly. You got to come big bag, and you got to come the right situation.
Deion lose his son, I think it's all up for grabs. Deion going to go to the highest bidder. He ain't going to stay in no Colorado.
Well, he could. Now, see, this is my thing. Like Left, you brought up, they did try with Sam Hartman. If that's the case, because they have not done it. See, Sam Hartman is not a star, dude. You can look at Sam, just because he got long hair, that don't make him a star. Hang around that dude. He ain't got that.
That boy had the personality of a saltine cracker.
Yeah, absolutely. So that one is, once again, you're talking about poor evaluation of what stars are. Spend time around CJ Carr. You can tell the difference between him and Sam Hartman immediately. And he ain't throwing a pass in college football.
That's a star. Yeah, that's a star.
That's a star. Kenny, I wouldn't say that about Kenny Minchie. Kenny Minchie's a quiet kid, immensely talented. I wouldn't just say CJ Carr is a star. Deuce Knight is a star.
And
like, talk to the kids, hang around them. Those are possible stars. It's an embarrassment that Notre Dame, if you want to believe what people in the chat say, if Notre Dame did try to make him a star, that's an embarrassment. Because you wouldn't got a dude that's not even a part of your program, and you tried to allow him to be a star Dude, that dude isn't a star.
If
Jalen
you're
Smith was a star. Manti Te'o was a star.
yeah. And if you're that quiet reserve
Stars.
kid, if you're that quiet reserve personality, you need some storyline to drive you into stardom. Like you could talk about
Or you
Marvin
need to
Harrison
put up
Jr.
crazy stats
And that's what I was just about to say. You can talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. and like he's a quiet reserve guy. He's not out loud. He's not in DB's faces. You can't guard me. But he's the son of Marvin Harrison, and he's putting up every number in the world.
Number in the world, yeah.
Well, yeah, whether you want to or not, he could be as quiet as he could be the receiver that's just like, hey man, let's have a good game. Let's get out there and work. He could be that guy, but he has the storyline to push him. Hartman didn't have the personality, the storyline, nor the stats at Notre Dame to be a star. But again, it's the quarterback position. And again, in college football right now, we're in this weird place of there are some programs where the players are the stars, some where the coach is the star, but overwhelmingly, you'll see on the best teams, on the championship teams, the coaches are the stars. That's just the reality. Whether you want to get mad at me for that or not, your coach is going to be your star. Let me tell you something. When Notre Dame hired Marcus Freeman, my mama called me up and she said, son, we might have to stop acting like we don't like Notre Dame in this house. That brother look good. I might have to root for him every time he come on TV. I said, mama, that's a married man. That is a married man. You stop that nonsense right now. But that's the case. College football is moving because of the roster turnover and because of the way it's becoming. If you want to be a great coach, you have to be willing to be the star and take all the things that go with that stardom.
Bro, I didn't know. I'm covering Notre Dame, and I'm just looking at him as a coach. I'm like, man, he's a solid coach. That's a solid hire. And I went to his first practice, and I was like, yo, the line for autographs is bananas. Like, dude, this is bananas. He hasn't even coached a game at Notre Dame. This is crazy. But look, I will say this. The stars are the stars as far as the coaches. But once again, Dabo a lot. Dude, Left, you talk about, because this is Left's boy, so this might be a sensitive topic for him. They had to play Trevor, bro. They had to. He was a star. He was a star on and off the field, dude. And he's a different star, right? Because he's a quiet kid from the South. But coming off, remember the Titans, he just reminded everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he was just like, yo, he was that dude. Deshaun Lamar was the star in a different way. Deshaun was the star. So, yeah, the coaches, the great coaches have the ability to be the face of the program, be the star, but at the same time, lay a platform where their best players can be stars as well.
And you say, and I think that's Brian Kelly's biggest drawback. I think his biggest drawback is he doesn't. I want people to tell me about the Heisman winner's personality. Go for it. Somebody tell me, what's he like? Anybody? Anybody got anything?
Jaden Daniels?
Yeah, tell me what his personality is like.
I think Jaden Daniels' personality fits on the level of a Trevor Lawrence, a Michael Penix. I mean, he's not a boisterous.
What's his
Sean wasn't a boisterous guy.
So you felt like Jaden could have been bigger?
If he didn't have Brian Kelly sucking up all the air in the room, absolutely. Brian Kelly is that type of guy.
Brian Kelly also helped bring attention to Jaden Daniels having a vote over a Penix at the time, or because Penix had a better resume in my opinion.
I think I agree Penix had a better resume, but what Jaden Daniels had was the SEC push more than anything else. He had the SEC push.
Brian Kelly.
Again, Brian Kelly sucked up the oxygen in the room.
Because if Jaden Daniels did the same thing at Mississippi State, I guarantee you Penix would have won the championship. I mean the Heisman.
But that's my point. That's my point. I'm talking about just who their head coaches are. Washington's head coach was not the star. Penix was the star.
Yeah, he just wasn't going to get Penix to.
Penix was the star, but people
Penix would have had to be like Michael Jordan or something.
Exactly, but people don't view the Pac-12 in the same way. It's not what it used to be. Y'all remember when we were growing up, we didn't have Pac-12 after dark. The Pac-12 games was early in the day. You was not having to stay up till midnight to watch these teams play. Now that's where you're at. But if we're talking about where the new landscape of college is going, Marcus Freeman is in a very good place for who he is and where he is. There are plenty of coaches that are in a very good place for who they are and where they are. But a lot of these coaches have to realize I can be the star, but I also need to give my stars room to breathe and room to go, because at the end of the day, that is what this game is going to be about. How can you sell your freshman, hey, you're going to be a big part of this team. After Michael leaves, you're next up. You're next up if you never allow Michael to be a star.
Notre Dame is set up for it. Like USC is showing you how it can work.
Yeah.
Wherever Riley goes, he bring him a quarterback to equal level of stardom, and they make it work. Marcus Freeman just got to bring up somebody of equal level of stardom, and Sam's not it. That's not the right formula you plug into the equation to equal success. And then you look at Washington, Kalen DeBoer wasn't a strong enough number to multiply Michael Penix to get that award. Brian Kelly is a good enough resume, strong enough. He got him a star, and it made sense. So Lincoln Riley showed you the formula to do it, and he repeats it, rinse and repeats every time. Yeah. And this year it just didn't work out. But I guarantee you're gonna find somebody to make it happen again.
Well, they had like, what was it, the 120th defense in the nation or something crazy like that. You're not gonna beat a high school football team with that. I mean, that defense, they couldn't stop a cough with Robitussin tissue and 3 COVID shots. So, you get what you get. You get what you get out of that. But I agree with you that the coach being the star, but also giving the star room to breathe, that's the key. That's the key. That's, if you're at a point where you're asking yourself, hey, when's the last time we had a big star? You're in trouble as a program. If you're at a point where you don't at least have a certified identity as a program, now you're in trouble. Because again, the head coach sets the identity. The head coach will be there throughout everything. Say what you want about Harbaugh winning, not winning, whatever the case may be. Even before he started making playoff appearances and all that, what was Michigan when he got there? You knew they were going to be physical. They were going to line up with them 2-3 tight ends. They were going to have at least a fullback on the roster. They were going to go huddle. They were going to go slow. And it was going to be, you may win this game, but put your hands up. It's going to be a fight. We finna get in this thing. It's going to be nasty. You'll win, but you're going to need some ice packs on the end of that thing. And so, that's the reality. That's the reality. At the end of the day, the biggest thing, and I hate to say this, but it's a chicken or the egg situation, because we all know that winning cures all. It don't matter if you got that personality that's not great. If you're a winner, that cures all. But we're talking about that balance of what is your way to do this thing. You got to have both. If you're not guaranteeing championships year in and year out, you got to have that thing where you're the star, but you also let the players breathe, and then that continues to breathe the success year in and year out. People talk about, Saban never got in the portal. How? Jahmyr Gibbs was from where? He wasn't Alabama homegrown. Jameson Williams, he wasn't Alabama homegrown. Yeah. He knew it's time I got to adjust. They might not have the quantity of other teams, but when they got in there, they got the best and got out. They did that thing like a good bank robbery. In and out, 1, 2, 3, nobody's pleased, and we out. That's what
he knows. He can't sustain that success. I think he just is like.
I agree.
And on top of that, you see that schedule they play next year. Ain't nobody going. You're not going 12-1 with that schedule. Well, you're just not. You're just not.
Well, you could if you had some players that, again, the system is no longer set up to how it used to be, to where you would get 2-3 great quarterbacks on your roster all at one time. And then one of them would leave, go to the NFL, and then you bring up the second guy. And that second guy would be good for his couple of years, and then he would leave, and then you got the third guy. It's not like that anymore, because if you have the great one, okay, well, the two is like, well, yeah, I think it's about time for me to get on out of here.
Yeah.
It's been real. It's been fun, but it ain't been real fun. See y'all boys later. And that's what it is.
I'll say glad to see my boy Sid Irish in the chat. He should have been on yesterday, man. We had a good conversation about pieces. We brought up Detroit's pizza too.
Hey,
it was kind of low on the list. I just want you to know.
Let me tell you something, okay? Let me tell you something.
What's up?
I don't give a rat's behind what y'all think about my city and this pizza. It's a lot of hateration and holleration because we're the reigning NFC champs. That's the problem. That's the problem. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. That's what's going on, and it's all right. I'm not afraid to call out bias when I see it.
That's what we're doing. As
Listen,
The
much credit
loudest in
as I've
30
given,
years. The loudest in 30
as
years.
much credit as I've given, I stuck up for you guys at the end of the Dallas game, and you.
All I'm saying is this: it feels like Mary J. Blige said she ain't want no hateration or holleration in her dancery, and it feel like y'all bring it both. I'm just saying. You know,
Dude, I gave Coney Island a shout out today.
you did.
I want to know what
I
a first round exit looks like. What are y'all still talking all that mess?
Oh, first round exit.
First round
Who out the
exit.
playoffs?
Does that sound? Was that on the plate? What's that do for y'all?
Who out the playoffs already? Who out the playoffs?
No, he's saying, Detroit can probably tell us about
if they have a first round exit. If they have a first round exit, in the words of Smokey, when we get a first round exit, I'll shut up. But when that next season start, I'm gonna be talking again.
Hey man, talk, bro.
I'm gonna be talking again. All right, but I highly doubt that Stafford's gonna have a successful return to Ford Field. That's just me. But we gonna see.
My brother threw for 3 million yards on Ford Field.
Okay, we'll see. He threw for 3 million yards when he was there. And how many games did he win? Okay.
Hey, all he need is one on a Sunday.
Hey,
don't worry about it. Don't worry. Like I said. See, I peeped the game. I peeped the Lucky Lefty podcast.
Y'all
hating on the city right now. And that's all right.
But you remember Sean McVay? Sean McVay a hater too, because he let go of Jared for a reason.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna tell you this much. Okay. Regardless of how y'all feel about Detroit pizza, I'll say this. I will give y'all this. Detroit pizza is not the greatest pizza in the world. And I'll admit
that's all we said.
I'll admit that. I like it. It's made for my taste. You know what I mean?
You should like it.
It ain't for everybody. And that's all right. That's perfectly fine.
Did y'all use that, what is it, Heinz ketchup? Is that what it was for the pizza sauce?
My brother in Christ, are you okay?
Yo,
you think we use a Heinz on pizza?
Oh no,
it kind of looks like that. I'm saying they tried to bring that Jets pizza to Chicago, and immediately Cass was like, "No." Nah,
okay, well, hold on. What we're not going to do is disrespect Jets. See, and this, y'all see how the Lucky Lefty podcast moves. I called for a ceasefire. I said, all right, we're going to calm this thing down. We're going to relax it on out. And they going to say Jets ain't good? Jets?
I didn't say it wasn't good. I just said Chicago Cats don't rock with it.
My brother in Christ.
Jets is good on occasion. You can't have Jets every time you
want pizza. That's that drunk food on a Friday.
You can't have Jets
every
time
is
you
drunk
want pizza
food?
Though.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
You just can't
I
have
refuse to hear this from people who we ask it where the cheese is in their pizza. Yes, we know it's under the sauce, but if we got to ask where the cheese is, I don't even know if you could call it pizza for real. I really don't. And you going to sit up here and say Jets is drunk food? I will drink Jets. I will eat Jets here, there, everywhere, drunk, sober, in November, in October, and wherever I want to eat some Jets, I'm eating some Jets. Jets will put an extra back on your back. That's how good that food is. You mess around and play with Jets for real. What y'all mean, Jets?
That's not a pizza you go to for pizza all the time.
First of all, I did not give any report on Jets pizza because I've never had it. And all I said is a few of them had closed up in Chicago. That's all I said. That's all I said.
A few had to shut down.
Rock with. That's all I said.
COVID. It was COVID.
I've never had it, so I can't sit here and say it tastes like trash. I'm just going by, those that have closed in the Chicago area when they tried to invade. I don't know why they chose Chicago.
Chicago, they went to the wrong spot. They went to the wrong corner.
And you can say, first of all, you can say what you want to say about stuffed pizza in Chicago. Everybody from Chicago would tell you that's tourist pizza. Nobody from Chicago eats stuffed pizza. We don't go eat stuffed pizza. We get pub-style pizza on the south side. We have tons of spots. We never have to go down with tourists downtown and eat Giordano's or Lou Malnati's or anything like that. Any place that ships its pizza does not represent Chicago.
I'm not gonna yell. I'm not gonna yell because I don't want your fans to ears to tear up if they got their headphones in right now. But I'm gonna say this: the Jets pizzas everywhere I've been doing perfectly fine. I live in North Carolina right now on the other side of the country from my hometown. Other side of the country. You think them things are struggling right now? You think I can't pull up multiple Jets pizzas down here now?
Name the pizza competition in North Carolina. Are you kidding me right now?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Okay,
first of all, you always have the
no
generic.
competition in North
You
Carolina.
always
That's a
have the
great spot to
generic.
be.
You always have the big generics as your competition wherever you are in America. Everywhere you go in America, it's going to be a Domino's, it's going to be a Pizza Hut, it's going to be a Papa John's. What do you mean? It's going to be a Hungry Howie's everywhere in America.
So once again, I asked you, why didn't Jets make it in Chicago? That's
because here's the thing, and I'm gonna answer you. I'm gonna answer you. I'm gonna answer you.
They're making it Alabama.
Let me answer you.
Alabama.
Let me answer you.
Alabama. So basically, you're telling me Jets can make it in Detroit and in the South. That's basically what you're telling me.
You know, certain markets.
Let me answer you. Let me answer you like another Detroit.
Will they ever take a Jets to New York?
Let me answer you.
Will they
like
ever take a Jets
absolutely
to
not.
Haven?
Can I give you the answer directly from the Detroit Legends mouth? You know,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Who's the internet's favorite food reviewer right now? Who's the internet's favorite food reviewer?
Oh, you know your boy.
Keith Lee.
Yes.
Keith Lee from Brightmo. From Brightmo. And you know what he says all the time? These reviews are to me. They are what works for me. I can't help it if Chicagoans got bad taste. What that got to do with me? I can't help that.
We still have better pizza. It don't matter.
Hey, listen.
You can go to any search any top 10 pizza cities. I bet you Detroit is not in front of Chicago at any time.
And here's the thing.
Do your homework.
Here's the thing. You know better than anybody. Folks love to hate on Detroit. There's not a clothing line called Chicago versus everybody. There's not a clothing line called that. You know why?
Ohio had it first.
Oh boy, here we go.
Ohio had it first.
Here we go.
2014, Ezekiel Elliott, Alabama. Ohio had it first.
I get it. I get it. KC,
let me tell you something.
I get it.
Let me tell you something.
You want attention.
Let me tell you something.
Y'all want
Let me tell you something. Again, Detroit gets hate like no other place. We get hate for everything. They came out with a thread of Detroit women on Twitter, and everybody was surprised. Talking about, y'all got shorties like that. I told my frat brothers down here, I said if I had to rank the finest, the cities I've lived in or that I've traveled to extensively that got the finest women, I said it would be Detroit number 1. I said I think Greensboro would be number 2. Houston number 3, Charlotte number 4, Raleigh last. That's what I said. And they got up in arms with me like nobody's business. You mean to tell me that Detroit got the finest women? I said, listen, y'all have not been. I promise you, stop watching the news. Just go for yourself. Just go for yourself. Or just look up Detroit women. It'll be different. You're not even going to realize what it is. Now, when that thread dropped, all them brothers came with apologies. My bad, bro. I didn't know y'all was like that up there. I said, I told you. I felt like Petey and Remember the Titans. I told you. The boy ain't want to know. You ain't want to know what the women in Detroit look like because I told you they was bad. I told you.
To whom honor is due, I give honor.
Mm-hmm.
As a Chicagoan, I know good high school basketball. I always give Detroit its props.
Absolutely.
High school football, I've always given Detroit its props. I actually think Detroit is vastly underrated. Through Michigan has lived and breathed off of Cass Tech.
Absolutely.
And Detroit public school kids for years.
Number 1, second to none, baby.
No one is hating on Detroit. Look, I spent my summers in Detroit at the festivals in August. I understand. I know the eye candy I was looking at, bro. I'm not hating on Detroit.
Come on now.
We've always said Chicago and Detroit are brothers.
Absolutely.
If you in Detroit, you got family in Chicago. If you're in Chicago, you have family in Detroit.
And I've always said that the Bears fan base is my second favorite fan base in the NFC North. If I had to give it to somebody else, it had to be the Bears. I'm just saying it felt like it was some hateration and holleration.
No, I simply reported that Jet Pieces had closed up in the Chicagoland area. That's all I said.
Now, wait a minute. The Lucky Lefty podcast talk a lot about Notre Dame. Is there one in South Bend?
Yes,
is there one in South? How's it doing? Is it all right?
Hey, let us know. How's the Jets Pizza doing in South Bend? I don't know.
I think it's doing all right.
I know one thing. I go to South Bend and Portillo's is always packed. That's Chicago. That's Chicago.
You know
I
what?
know that Portillo's is always packed in South Bend.
And here's the thing. Okay.
Always. Okay. Somebody said I got right here. Justin said, yo, thank you, Justin. It's pretty good. He said it's pretty good. He said it's a pretty good pizza, dude. I said I've never tasted it. I'm just reporting that they tend to close up in the Chicagoland area. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? And you know what? You know what?
He said
More power to the
they
people.
tend to fold real fast, Sean.
Left. That's all I'm saying. I don't hear the commercials on sports radio anymore. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. That's why I said
that's what it is. They pop up shops. They pop up shops.
Not they pop up shops. Not they pop up pizza shops. Not they pop up pizza shops. See. This is the disrespect.
Yo,
this is the disrespect.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I come on this show every time I come on Lucky Lefty. And here's the thing. I come on here for about an hour each time, and we do good for about 45, 50 minutes. And every time, last time, it was Left disrespecting me about Riley Leonard, talking about he a Volvo amongst Volvos. And this time, we got Detroit Beast. Y'all want to get me fired up. Y'all want to raise my blood pressure up. That's what it is. Y'all want me to stroke out. Y'all want a brother to stroke out. But I ain't fooling with y'all. I'm about to go get a run in right now to bring that blood pressure down. That's what I'm about to go do. I love you, brothers. Y'all are amazing at what you do. I enjoy coming on with you every time. But I gotta go because I'm telling you, that the minute my family, that vein start popping in the middle of your head, you're in trouble. So I'm gonna go before that vein start popping. Love y'all. Love the Lucky Lefty crowd. Y'all are amazing as always, but I got it. That's my time, folks. I got to get on out of here.
Yo, we're pulling for you guys this weekend.
I appreciate it. It did sound like Left was pulling. It did sound like Left was pulling for it. It sounded like he wanted some Puka Nacua touchdown.
Left, you're pulling for you. Well, you know what? I'm lying.
Oh, see,
let me stop myself. I gotta be honest.
See,
I want you to wait. Let me break it down. I want you to be happy, bro. I do. Mm-hmm. I don't want to have to text you on Saturday or this weekend and give condolences. I don't.
Right.
But that boy Kyron Williams is coming. And I can't.
And this right here. Let me tell you. This right here is why I'm doing 100 miles of running and jogging this month to keep my blood pressure down. Because folks like y'all want to get up. Y'all want to get up. And I ain't fooling with you. Not today.
Isn't that fair? You expect us not to root for Kyron?
Listen, I expect y'all to root for Kyron, but I'm just saying, the Lions ain't been there in so long. Do you know the last time Detroit had a home playoff game? Let's talk about the things that weren't invented at that time. LeBron James was 10 years away from the NBA. The man is like Father Time right now. The iPhone ain't been heard of. The only people that had cell phones were business execs and drug dealers. That's it. Those are the only people that had cell phones at the time. Okay? There was only one way to do a prostate exam. Wasn't none of this blood work back then. It was real uncomfortable in there when you got that done. All right? All of these things. NIL, what's that? Transfer portal, what's that? Nick Saban, I don't even think had his first head coaching job back in 93. And here we are, which people were hitting folks on beepers. Oh man, this little t-shirt right here. I got to call it back. Let me go find the payphone. That's what the world was last time the lost the play. And y'all are rooting for a team that won the Super Bowl in the last few years. You know what? I'm gonna get on out of here. Because y'all gonna make me. In the words of DMX, y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here. So I'm gonna let y'all go.
Next time you home, let me know.
Absolutely.
I'll meet you up there. Dinner on me at Savannah Blue.
Let's do it. That's one of my favorite spots.
Savannah Blue or Besa, either one.
I
love Detroit, bro.
That Savannah Blue is one of my favorite spots. Let's do it.
Hit Savannah Blue then. Hey,
absolutely.
That's KG, Caden Gibbs.
Good seeing you.
Wolfpack. Locked on College Football Live. Man. Great show today, man. Talking about legacy of what Marcus Freeman has to do. Most of the Notre Dame fans said that he has to win 2 or more to really be considered great at Notre Dame. And
2 or more.
Yeah. If he wins 1, I think he can, like I said.
Yeah, I mean, what are we saying 2 or more?
1 gets the statue. I guess they talking about being great. Now you're talking about like legacy, being a great head coach in college football. If he wins 2
Muffet
at Notre
McGraw
Dame,
won 1 championship.
no, Chidi won 2.
No,
Yo.
2.
I was about to say, don't disrespect Muffet like that, dude. Muffet won 2.
I'm thinking of Niel. Niel is the Jim Harbaugh
And she was
of
1
Notre
point from
Dame
winning a
basketball.
third. She was 1 point from winning a third.
Yeah.
She almost went back to back.
Marcus Freeman, with the weight of what the program is right now, if he wins 1 at where he is in his coaching career, that's got to have some heavy weight on that.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. If he wins 2, but I think most everybody that's watching today will take 1. Let's get the first one, right? let's work
That's
on
what I'm
this first
saying.
one.
Like, come on now. Let's be fair here.
Let's work on this first one, and then we can go do
And he
everything
had to
else.
do it through a gauntlet of a playoff system that's never been done.
Now that changes. Now, see, maybe does that lower the standard now? Because I mean, Nick Saban never had to go through. Well,
Which is why
Nick Saban still would have had the same amount of games though, because he's going to be in the top 4, and they're not playing until the
who
quarter. So they'll
knows?
play 1 extra
Who
game.
knows? You got
That's true.
upsets that can happen. It's like the NCAA basketball tournament. As much as we like to think, we'll start to see over time number 1 teams crashing out early and surprise teams being in the Final Four, just like basketball. The stakes of which it takes to win week after week with minimal preparation, anything can happen. Late in the season, guys hurt, guys want to protect their first round. Just think about the potential timelines of a first round pick. He the number 4 team, and they win 2 games. And he 13, 14 games in on the season. He like, man, I'm trying to protect this first round pick. Do I sit?
Yeah.
So, I think for Marcus Freeman to win under these circumstances, it's like LeBron winning in the bubble. It just means a little bit more.
Here we go. I'm just gonna ignore that foolishness, Lucky Lefty podcast. So, a championship is a championship. I don't want to hear nothing about no meanings. Ain't nothing in the definition talking about this is a greater championship. Just any way to get that loser, that sub 500 in the NBA Finals, into conversation when we talking about greatness. Boy, I tell you.
Wait a minute.
I just found out that shout out. I didn't know Cat was from Dayton, bro.
Listen, we have all the greats.
I had to show some love. Like, okay, that Cat
He went
Williams
to Chaminade Julienne. The man was.
Did he really?
The man. Look, Cat Williams in Dayton, like he said, he grew up and he got a good foundation. Then he went out in the world and became who he was, man. That's just so you got Marcus Freeman, Cat Williams, MALIK, the Wright brothers. I mean, we really the cradle of civilization.
How in the world do you always pump up the Wright brothers and then you don't like flying? Now that's your first. You go to the Wright brothers all the time and you don't like flying.
Because guess what? They started with bicycles first. They got the bike shop in Dayton first, and that's what you gotta, you stick to your guns, man.
So I think that's what I'm gonna be rocking. I'm gonna be rocking definitely the bike. When I go out to LA, for sure.
How do you feel now that the era of sports has changed so much for you? All the like classic coaches are gone now. Classic players have retired.
I've been through
Now
it.
you got Jalen Green.
It's and according to reports, I've seen these reports, so I'm just reporting. Kirby has said no. Stark has said no, and Dan Lanning has said no. So the front runner right now is Kalen DeBoer.
I wouldn't do it if I was him.
Kalen DeBoer being a Northwest guy, I don't know the fit.
It's a sucker move.
Yeah, I just don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy. Is this the best? Because as we get ready to get out of here, left the trio of Pete, Nick, and Bill. Is that the best coach trio you've ever seen, or you'll ever see like retired or move on in a short time? Those are
Well,
three great
I
coaches.
think that the era of sports is changing over, so it's like it's starting not from scratch, but from an even playing field.
Hmm.
I think guys are all at a okay. The crown is abdicated, and they're all on a mission to the top of the hill now. And I think that makes it great for how younger players are taking over the leagues in general. And maybe there's a young Kobe, Phil Jackson, Shaquille O'Neal on the come up. You know,
It
maybe
is,
there's a young Rams team on the come up. Who knows?
yeah, it is. It's very interesting, man. Shout out to we're dropping an interview tomorrow with Chris Burgess Jr. out of Chicago over at IB. Uh, Make sure you join the recruiting hour for that. And he talks about how much Deuce Knight, man, pretty much recruited as hard as the coaching staff. So Deuce Knight is still paying dividends for Notre Dame as a commit. It's
That's what
incredible,
you gotta
man.
do.
Yeah. Oh, your thoughts on Bill? Because I saw some. How do you feel about this? I saw somebody in the chat say that most great coaches are a-holes. I will push back on it a little bit because I've played for some great coaches as far as like Chicago Public League and Chicago sports. Do you feel like, because I don't, if you, I heard former New England Patriots players talk about Bill Belichick. Damian Woody, dude, literally said he saved my career. He flat out
Yeah,
saved my career.
I think the coach with the best form of displaying discipline that you can buy into are the best coaches. And discipline is in different ways, displayed in different ways where, it's a thin line, but the discipline has to be constant and edible enough for guys to buy into at one time. So I think the struggle in a coaching is that you got to find that balance on the team of who's the guys that buy into my type of discipline and who don't.
Yeah.
You think of a guy like Pat Fitzgerald, his type of discipline had a Northwestern team be pretty consistent, through the years. And when the discipline or whatever may have you, that thin line was crossed, I think you see the difference in, how the program can change over. So,
And you know what, Left? I'll say this, man. I had a preconceived notion from players I had talked to and recruits that I had spoken with over the years about who Harry Hiestand was. Talking to you, I was like, yo, when I meet Harry Hiestand, this is what I'm going to get. And when he came back to Notre Dame and we went in to cover the media, I walked in the room and he said, "What's up, big guy?" And I looked and it was Harry. And we had like a quick conversation. And I'm like, yo, he's a big jolly dude. Like this is not the dude I expected. You know what I mean? So it's like I guess you're right. Like coaches have their ways of installing discipline in their players, and sometimes that's not truly representative of who they are as people. And I think
here's a prime example of, when it's time to practice and it's time and when you care about, what you do, you convey that through your coaching, guys get that. So when you really care about technique or whatever the way you coaching, and when guys believe in the way you coaching, they're willing to take the way you do it, because they like, damn, he really on me, but if I do it, and they do it one time and they see it work, they're like, okay, I can take the yelling and screaming because it means so much for him for me to get it right, you know. So it's when you do it and you're not believable or it's not transferring, that's where you get your issues where you like, man, this dude just yelling and screaming, he ain't even teaching me nothing. That's no different than you sitting in school, you know. If you got a teacher that's just yelling and screaming and she ain't teaching you nothing, you just gonna lose interest. So, you know, if a teacher yelling and screaming, but it's because they on you, but if you do it right, you get it, it can take you places. It's a whole different level of tolerance that you'll take.
Man, Lucky Lefty podcast could not have said it better myself. Left, great show today. Thank you to Caden Gibbs from Locked On College Football Live, Locked On ACC, and Locked On Wolfpack. You know what time it is.
Petticoat, petticoat, petticoat junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty historic Petty Junction?
Petty Junction, Petty Story today brought to you by ONORA Whiskey at NORAWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey at NORAWhiskey.com. Normally, this is a double petty for me. And I'm going to put Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock on the petty train. Jason Whitlock for nitpicking about Stephen A. Smith's book and just doing stupid stuff. And Stephen A. Smith, like, bro, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, but man, you went hard, bro. I don't know if it was too much. Parts of it made me feel like, okay, you kept calling him that character from Austin Powers multiple times. And I'm like, yo, fam. But I will say this. I have experienced indirectly when I got to ESPN, I believe it was like a year and a half after I got there, the Undefeated was launched. And I considered a move to Washington, D.C. to be part of it, right? Why wouldn't I, right? Dude, they were doing podcasts and writing articles about the culture, and it was going to represent the culture in sports and in life. And I'm like, yo, this is absolutely fantastic. And was blessed enough to have a couple of conversations with talent at ESPN that pretty much told me if I were you, I wouldn't do that. I would not uproot your family and move to DC. And the way that guys like Stan Verrett, Jamel Hill, Mike Hill, and every reputable Black broadcaster pretty much in some way, form, or fashion came out and backed up everything Stephen A. Smith said about this dude. Man, Left, I felt bad for him. I'm like, bro, you just need to shut up. And he's still talking today. And it's like, man, just shut up and move on, man. Just Stan Verrett doesn't bother anybody, bro. Stan Verrett doesn't bother anybody. When Stan Verrett comes for you.
I mean, he does the same thing to Deion. He be making 2 or 3 videos a week on Deion. Something Deion says, something Deion do. He be going in. It's funny because if you watch the video, they be going in on Stephen A. And it's stuff that's like, okay, you could ask a question about that. Okay, I can see how I mean, it's just like, why are you so focused on them little details? Is it because it's like, what's the motivation? You know?
Like, dude, why do you care?
Yeah, why do you care?
Why do you care to see video of Stephen A. Smith playing basketball? What? Who cares? Dude, I haven't seen video of you playing football at Ball State. I like, dude. We talk about playing D-line at Ball State. I ain't seen no video. Where is it at? What was that scene with Issa and when she was out with Lawrence in front of the restaurant, and she was like, I haven't seen your app. Where is it at? It was like, dude, that's how I feel. Like, man, what are we
I
talking
mean,
about?
I mean, you know, that's if you just doing your journalistic duties on your own people. I mean, I guess it's a question you can ask. Yeah, we would love to see a Stephen A. highlight or whatever. I mean, I get
Bro,
it.
he's gone he's literally done shows at his alma mater with his teammates telling stories standing around him left.
See, I didn't know that.
What do you, I mean, what? It's like, dude, even if there's no video, you would have to deduce, like, okay, here's his actual teammates standing around him telling stories and vouching for this man. What?
Yeah,
Dude,
I think Stephen A. was right to respond. That's his willing right. He can say something. Can't tell a person how to respond, but
no,
he
never
definitely, I
that.
think he wanted to make it one time thing. That's why he went so hard. I don't think he gonna try to entertain back and
But
forth.
with a dude like him, he's never gonna stop talking, bro.
Yeah, Jason not gonna stop making
He's not
videos.
gonna stop talking, dude. So, man, it is what it is, man. Lucky Lefty podcast. We're out of here, man. We thank you guys for joining us today, and we'll get back at it tomorrow. Left recruiting news, big weekend coming up for Notre Dame. Big time recruits coming in. We'll watch some film and talk about the newest committed transfer portal. They went to Northwestern again, Left. I just didn't want to fire you up today.
That's right.
Lucky Lefty podcast, man. Spin it different.